Hello everyone. In today's video, we're embarking on an incredible mechanical adventure, transforming a 1966 Chevy C10 by swapping it onto a 2001 Tahoe frame. It's not just a restoration, it's a journey that blends vintage charm with modern power. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the greatness happening here. Let's go! The process begins with the complete teardown of the Tahoe, starting deep within the engine compartment. One by one, the parts come off. The intake pipe, the overflow tank, and the fender are carefully removed, exposing the heart of the machine. Every bolt and bracket tells a story of years gone by. Next, all AC components are unmounted, clearing space for what's to come. Then, attention shifts to the interior. The dash comes out first, followed by the delicate removal of the switches, steering wheel, and the maze of wires that once gave life to the cabin. The floor carpet and headliner are stripped away, revealing the raw surface beneath, a blank canvas ready for transformation. Each door is detached with precision, making way for the structural modifications ahead. Piece by piece, the body is organized and categorized, ensuring the upcoming alterations go smoothly. When the time comes to cut the body into sections, it's done with careful planning, making disassembly efficient and controlled. Then comes the centerpiece, preparing the engine for removal. Accessories are disconnected, the wiring harness is unclipped, and access is cleared for extraction. Before lifting it out, a high-pressure wash blasts away layers of grease and grime, revealing the metal beneath, the beating heart of the future build. This is just the beginning of the transformation, a meeting of eras where classic design meets modern mechanics, and every turn of the wrench brings us one step closer to reviving a legend. With the Tahoe stripped and the engine prepped for transformation, the work moves to the finer, more delicate details inside the heart of the machine. The oil baffle and pickup tube are carefully removed, each part inspected and set aside with precision. Then the front and rear covers come off, exposing the intricate timing components beneath, the very rhythm of the engine itself. The timing chain and cam plate are removed, cleaned, and reinstalled, ensuring every tooth and bolt aligns perfectly. Precision here means everything. A single misstep could compromise the entire engine's performance. Once the surfaces are spotless, the team begins the reassembly. A new oil pump, fresh rear and front covers, and a perfectly fitted oil pan come together to seal the system tight, ensuring flawless oil flow for years to come. Next comes the visual transformation, spray painting the engine. As the first coat settles across the metal, the dull surface is reborn into a vibrant, protective shell. The paint doesn't just add color, it shields against corrosion, gives the engine a renewed identity, and marks a symbolic fresh start for this build. Meanwhile, the focus shifts to the frame, the very foundation that will carry the reborn Chevy. Using a high-pressure washer, years of dirt, oil, and road grime are blasted away. The cleaner the surface, the stronger the future. To reach every hidden crevice, the bumper reinforcement is removed, allowing a thorough cleaning of every inch of steel. After a second wash to ensure no debris remains, the frame stands bare and ready. Then comes protection. A layer of rust reformer spray bonds with the metal, preserving it from time and wear. Finally, a sleek coat of Eastwood chassis black gives it that rich factory-fresh finish. Deep, glossy, and ready to support the legend above it. With the foundation restored, the attention turns to the brake system. The calipers are removed first, followed by the rotors, opening up access to the suspension. Each removed part signals progress, a step closer to breathing new life into a machine that hasn't just been rebuilt, but reborn piece by piece. With the chassis freshly painted and gleaming in Eastwood chassis black, the build transitions to one of its most crucial stages. Rebuilding the suspension system. The rear suspension comes first. Each worn component is unbolted and replaced with precision-engineered parts, designed to handle the new frame's power and weight. Shortened bump stops and the shock extenders are installed, perfectly measured to balance comfort and control. It's more than just assembly. It's fine-tuning the feel of the ride itself. Next, new brake shields and rotors are mounted in place, each one aligned with millimeter accuracy to ensure flawless braking performance. The metal glints under the workshop lights, signaling another step forward in the rebirth of this classic machine. Then comes the fuel system overhaul. The process begins by disconnecting and queuing the fuel lines, ensuring not a drop is wasted. The old fuel pump is carefully removed from its housing, the heart of the fuel supply now ready for an upgrade. In its place, a new fuel pump is fitted and securely connected to the system. Once activated, it will regulate fuel delivery with precision, maintaining steady pressure to feed the engine's growing power. With the fuel system ready, attention returns to the braking system. The rear brake caliper is installed, marking the completion of the rear assembly. Then, focus shifts to the front suspension, where the old components are stripped away. Control arms, bushings, and all. The hub is carefully separated from the knuckle, and both upper and lower control arms are removed to make way for the new parts. Each component is reinstalled in perfect order. The hub returns to the knuckle, the brake shield is secured, and the knuckle is mounted onto the newly installed control arms. Every connection is torqued precisely, every bolt double-checked. Soon, the front brake rotor, caliper, and fresh brake pads slide into position, completing the new braking setup. To finalize the stance, lowering keys and new brake hoses are fitted, giving the truck a balanced, aggressive profile. With the tires reinstalled, the suspension and brake systems come together in harmony. The frame now sits proudly on its own wheels once again, stable, solid, and ready to support the reborn legend that's beginning to take shape. Now that the suspension and frame stand strong, the spotlight turns back to the heart of the build, the engine assembly. Every part added from here on out brings the machine one step closer to life. The process begins with the support bracket, fastened firmly into place to provide crucial stability and reinforcement to the engine assembly. With the base secured, attention shifts to the cooling system. The water pump and thermostat housing are precisely positioned, ensuring the engine will maintain a steady temperature once it roars back to life. Next comes the power steering pump. Its pulley and the idler pulley are aligned perfectly, forming the foundation for smooth belt movement and efficient engine operation. Nearby, the alternator finds its place, locking in the system that will feed power to every electrical component. Around it, small but vital details come together. A new PCV valve, coolant temperature sensor, and a fresh set of spark plugs, all contributing to optimal performance and reliability. With the internals ready, the flex plate is carefully attached, the final step before reuniting the engine with its counterpart. Slowly and precisely, the engine is lowered into position, aligned perfectly with its mounts. The transmission is mated next, the two systems meeting with satisfying precision. Each transmission bolt, engine mount bolt, and crank bolt is torqued to spec, locking the assembly together into one solid, unified powerhouse. The next sequence focuses on bringing the engine system to life. The starter is installed, followed by threading and securing the belt onto the pulleys, a vital link that will synchronize the engine's movements. With the coil packs connected, the ignition system is now ready to deliver spark, energy, and rhythm to the engine's cylinders. Before final testing, attention turns to airflow and fuel delivery. The intake manifold is disassembled, cleaned thoroughly to eliminate carbon deposits and grime. When reassembled, the refreshed intake receives EGR delete plates for improved performance and a MAP sensor to regulate air pressure precisely. Once every bolt is torqued and every seal checked, the engine stands complete, a perfect blend of old-school design and modern precision. At this point, the entire assembly feels alive again, sturdy, clean, and ready to breathe. Every polished surface, every new component reflects the countless hours of work that have gone into bringing this machine from rust to revival. After days of careful preparation, it's finally time for one of the most dramatic steps in the entire build, separating the 1966 Chevy C10 body from its original frame. This moment marks the true fusion of old and new. The process begins with precision and patience. The headlights and hood latch are removed first, followed by the hood itself, its hinges and radial covers coming off one by one. Every part is set aside carefully. Nothing lost, nothing rushed. Soon, the fenders, sail panels, and the entire front-end assembly detach, leaving behind the bare, time-worn frame that has carried the truck for decades. Next, the bed of the C10 is addressed. The bolts that have held it tight for years are loosened using a range of tools. Each turn a small victory against years of rust and resistance. Once freed, the bed is gently lifted away and placed safely on a flat surface, ready for restoration and modification later. Attention then turns to the cab, the very core of the classic C10. The doors and windshield are removed first, making the structure light enough for handling. Slowly, the cab is detached from the frame, lifted and set down on a specially prepared cart, ready for cleaning, welding, and customization. The once whole truck now stands in separate pieces, a vision of transformation in progress. Meanwhile, the Tahoe frame awaits its destiny. Precise cuts are made where necessary, preparing it to weld on the new conversion kit. Every measurement is checked twice to ensure a perfect alignment with the C10 body that will soon rest upon it. The bulkhead is test-fitted, and the adjustments continue until everything sits just right, tight, balanced, and ready for final mounting. With the structure aligned, attention shifts back to the powertrain. The transmission dipstick O-ring is swapped out to prevent future leaks, while new engine mounts are positioned, tested, and adjusted for the ideal fit. Then the headers slide into place, gleaming pipes that promise a deep, powerful rumble once the engine fires to life. Fresh engine oil is poured in, coating every moving part with protection, marking a symbolic milestone, the first breath of readiness. Once the mounts are confirmed, they're welded solidly, then painted, locking them into the frame with both strength and style. To finish the stage, new spark plug wires are installed, small but vital veins that will carry energy through the heart of the system. Finally, the new radiator support is positioned and secured, completing this chapter of the build. At this point, both the old C10 and the modern Tahoe have been stripped down, aligned, and reimagined. Two generations of engineering, decades apart, are now beginning to merge. And soon, the revived classic will rise again, stronger and more capable than ever before. With the frame strengthened and the mounts welded in place, attention now turns to one of the most intricate and technical stages of the build: wiring and refinement. This is where power meets control, and where the vintage C10's heart begins to synchronize with modern intelligence. The process starts with wiring up the Holley Terminator X system, a cutting-edge engine management system designed to bring precise fuel control and tuning to the newly rebuilt powertrain. Each wire is routed carefully, every connection double-checked. This system will breathe modern responsiveness into a classic soul, turning raw power into seamless performance. To make way for the complex wiring and interior updates, several components must first be removed. The sill plate, gauge cluster, brake pedal assembly, and glove box all come out, clearing the path for deeper repairs and electrical rerouting. Once these are stripped away, the old, rusted dash is removed, a major step toward reviving the cabin's integrity and function. Rust removal becomes the next focus. With grinders and wire brushes in hand, every patch of corrosion is ground down to bare metal, exposing the clean surface beneath. This step is slow and meticulous, but essential, ensuring that every new part will sit perfectly and endure for years to come. Then a long-awaited delivery arrives: new hardware. These precision-engineered components will secure the radiator in place, ensuring strength, balance, and long-term reliability once the cooling system is reassembled. With the engine bay ready, the focus shifts forward. It's time to rebuild the front clip. Surface rust is stripped away, leaving clean, raw steel. The restored parts are then painted in deep black, giving the entire assembly a sleek, uniform appearance. The grille receives similar care. Rust removed, fresh paint applied, and every piece carefully reassembled until it gleams like new. The headlight buckets are next. The old rivets are ground out, freeing the assemblies for restoration. Rust is stripped away, and each component is sanded, painted, and reassembled to factory precision, ensuring that when the lights are installed, they'll shine brightly and evenly once again. Attention then turns to the underside of the hood, which undergoes its own transformation. Years of grime and corrosion are scrubbed and ground away before applying a rust-preventive paint. Once sealed, a bed liner coating is sprayed on, tough, durable, and built to protect against heat and moisture. Finally, the parking lights are removed, and the bottom of the cab receives the same rust protection treatment and bed liner coating. It's a long, methodical process, but every cleaned surface, every coat of paint, and every fitted wire brings this machine one step closer to rebirth. The classic Chevy C10 is no longer a collection of old parts. It's becoming something greater, a perfect fusion of vintage craftsmanship and modern engineering. The transformation continues, and the legend grows stronger with every spark, every brushstroke, and every bolt tightened into place. The moment finally comes to confront one of the biggest challenges in any restoration: the seats. What looks like a simple task turns out to be a true test of patience and skill. The old seat is hauled out from storage, revealing years of neglect. Its once proud structure is now fragile. Springs are broken, steel wires hang loose, and the frame bears the scars of time. The damage is far worse than expected. For a moment, doubt lingers. Can this relic even be saved? Still, giving up isn't an option. This seat once carried decades of memories, and it deserves a second life. The restoration begins with careful inspection. Each spring is examined, counted, and compared to the original design. Some are missing entirely, others bent beyond recognition. Welding tools are prepped, and one by one, the broken springs are heated, reshaped, and welded back into place. Sparks dance in the dim workshop light as metal returns to its original strength. Once the welding is complete, the entire frame is stripped of rust, years of decay erased with grinding and wire brushing until the surface shines clean. Then, a protective coat of paint is applied to seal it against corrosion, bringing back the sturdy black sheen it once had. The same process continues for all remaining seats. Each frame undergoes the same ritual: old upholstery removed, springs repaired, surfaces derusted and repainted. Slowly, the once tired interior components begin to look factory new again, ready for their next chapter. Attention then shifts to the firewall, another crucial area for both safety and structure. It shows heavy rusting, a silent reminder of years exposed to moisture. The metal is cleaned, patched, and coated with rust reformer paint, neutralizing corrosion deep within. Once sealed, a durable bed liner is applied over it, adding not only protection but also a rugged texture that enhances durability and sound insulation. The cab floor receives the same treatment: sanded, sealed, and lined with the same tough coating. The result is a surface ready to face decades more of driving, weather, and wear. With the foundation restored, it's time to bring comfort back inside. Over each seat frame, layers of synthetic burlap are stretched tightly across the repaired springs, distributing pressure evenly and forming a strong base. On top of that, foam is cut precisely to shape, creating contours that will offer both comfort and support. Finally, the seat covers, fresh, custom-stitched, and perfectly fitted, are stretched into place. Wrinkles are smoothed out, corners tucked neatly, and seams aligned. When complete, the transformation is stunning. What was once a rusted, broken skeleton is now a pair of handcrafted, comfortable seats, tailored to the C10's reborn interior. They don't just look right, they feel right. Every stitch, spring, and layer tells a story of revival. This step isn't just about restoring the truck's comfort. It's about preserving its character. The seats, like the rest of the build, are more than parts. They're a tribute to craftsmanship, patience, and respect for a machine that refuses to fade away. After countless hours of grinding, welding, cleaning, and wiring, the project now enters one of its most rewarding stages: the rebirth of the C10's interior and the long-awaited first engine start. The work begins with the replacement dash, a part that carries both function and heritage. It's repaired and prepped for paint, its surface smoothed to perfection. Soon, a fresh layer of color restores its original elegance, transforming what was once rusted metal into a sleek, modern centerpiece. While the paint cures, attention shifts to the transmission cooler and power steering cooler, both installed to ensure stable operating temperatures and smooth performance once the truck is back on the road. Next, the doors take center stage. As they're dismantled, significant rust is revealed at the bottom edges, a reminder of the decades this classic has endured. Yet, not everything is lost. The glass remains reusable, a small victory that connects the truck's original spirit to its modern revival. Using pressure washing and detailed surface scrubbing, years of corrosion are stripped away, preparing the metal for restoration and new life. With the bodywork cleaned and prepped, the replacement dash is carefully positioned inside the cab. Every bolt is tightened with precision, every bracket aligned. A small but deeply satisfying moment, symbolizing the truck's interior coming back together piece by piece. Then comes a crucial step: final preparations for the first start. The cab is thoroughly scrubbed, clearing away dust and debris from every corner. Coolant and power steering fluid are added carefully, ensuring the system is primed and ready. One last check on the connections, and then the moment of truth. The ignition turns, the engine stirs. A deep mechanical rumble fills the workshop, steady, powerful, alive. For the first time, the rebuilt power plant fires to life, signaling the success of weeks of precision work. The sound of the idling engine echoes through the space like a heartbeat, the unmistakable rhythm of progress and passion. With the engine now alive and strong, the transformation shifts toward finishing touches. The interior of the doors and cab are sprayed with a fresh coat of white paint, brightening the workspace and giving the cabin a clean, modern glow. Once dry, a clear coat is applied across multiple panels, sealing the finish with a brilliant gloss that catches the light beautifully. Finally, the real glass and windshield are installed, each one carefully seated and sealed to perfection. The reflections now dance across the freshly painted surfaces, hinting at the reborn character of this machine. The climax comes as the cab is carefully aligned and mounted onto the frame. Slowly, methodically, the two halves, old body and modern foundation, come together as one. The bolts tighten, the frame settles. The structure stands unified once again, stronger, cleaner, and ready for the next chapter of its journey. At this point, the 1966 Chevy C10 is no longer just a restoration project. It's a resurrection. From rust and ruin to power and precision, every spark and every brushstroke has led to this moment. The past reborn on the bones of the future. With the cab mounted firmly to the frame and the engine now roaring to life, the build enters its final stage. The meticulous process of reassembly. Every component added now is more than hardware. It's a finishing touch that brings the C10's revival closer to completion. The sequence begins with the pedal assembly. Piece by piece, the C10 pedal set, master cylinder, steering column, and gas pedal are installed, connecting driver and machine once again. Each part is aligned perfectly, every movement tested for smooth function. This is where control returns, where the rebuilt Chevy becomes something you can finally drive. Next, precision work begins on the engine harness. A clean hole is drilled through the firewall, a grommet installed to protect the wires, and the harness is carefully fed through. Every strand of cable placed with care to ensure reliability and safety. To prepare the interior for sound and comfort, sheets of Dynamat are laid down across the cab floor and firewall. The insulation seals tightly, reducing vibration and road noise while giving the interior a professional finish. Once secured, wiring begins in earnest. The Terminator X module and battery are mounted, forming the electrical heart of the system. Cables are routed neatly across the frame, and nuts are welded in place to secure the fuse box. When the box is mounted, it gives the wiring layout a clean, factory-level structure. Following that, a new dome light is installed overhead, a simple yet satisfying touch that signals the return of life to the interior. Next comes the centerpiece of the restoration, the painted gauge cluster. It's mounted into the dash with precision, and the freshly made harness is connected. Power is tested, and as the lights flicker on and the needles move, the dash comes alive once more. The vintage style of the gauges now glows with modern reliability, a perfect harmony of old and new. Around the cabin, door frames are secured, ensuring alignment and structure. The door handles, latches, and window regulators follow, completing the mechanical feel of the doors. Once installed, the windows slide into their tracks smoothly, a sign of tight tolerances and patient craftsmanship. On the exterior, the headlights are fitted, and the grille, freshly painted and restored, is positioned in place, giving the C10 its iconic face again. Every wire behind it is tucked neatly, every light tested to perfection. Inside, the steering wheel is mounted, completing the driver's command center. Then, the carpet is laid across the Dynamat insulation, trimmed precisely to fit around every contour and edge. The interior now feels whole, clean, fresh, and ready for the road ahead. Before the final assembly, paint is applied under the windshield area, sealing and brightening the frame before installing the inner fenders. Some additional trimming is needed to clear the brake lines, a small but crucial adjustment that ensures flawless alignment. Finally, the front end, headlights, grille, and fenders, comes together, completing the classic face of the 1966 Chevy C10. The truck now stands as one, restored, upgraded, and reborn. Every wire, every bolt, and every brushstroke tells a story of dedication and precision. From a pile of rust and memory to a roaring, gleaming masterpiece, the C10 has journeyed through time and emerged ready for the road once more. With the interior refined and the wiring perfected, attention turns once more to the body, the outer shell that defines the C10's soul. Every bolt tightened now brings the build closer to completion. The freshly painted hood hinges are the first to go on, their smooth motion restored through careful greasing and alignment. With a satisfying click, they lock into place. The windshield cowl follows, fitted cleanly beneath the new glass, its contours blending seamlessly with the cab's clean white paint. Then, the front bumper is lifted into position. Each bolt is torqued evenly until it sits perfectly flush, restoring the bold, unmistakable stance of a classic truck ready to face the road again. The parking lights, fully reassembled and polished, find their home next to the grille. Their clear lenses reflect the workshop lights, signaling how close the project is to completion. Finally, the hood, freshly lined and coated, is lowered gently onto the hinges. The alignment is checked from every angle before the bolts are tightened down. With that, the front end stands complete, marking a major milestone in the C10's rebirth. But there's still work to be done. The bed. The underside is the first challenge. Its pressure washed thoroughly, years of grime blasted away to reveal the steel beneath. The sound of rushing water fills the workshop, echoing like a cleansing ritual. Once dry, grinding tools are brought out to strip off the remaining rust, sparks cascading beneath the bed like tiny stars. Where the damage is deeper, new supports are welded in, adding strength and rigidity to the aging frame. The metal glows under the torch, then cools to a solid, perfect bond. Over those sections, rust reformer paint is brushed carefully, neutralizing corrosion and sealing the structure for decades of protection. Once the repairs are complete, the bed is taped off, edges sealed tight in preparation for the final coat. The sprayer hisses to life, releasing a jet black finish that spreads evenly across the surface, transforming dull steel into a deep, protective shine. Each layer builds depth, resilience, and contrast against the bright white cab. The tailgate is removed for separate attention. It shows old scars, bends, dents, and a visible gap that has to be closed. A ratchet strap is hooked on each side, pulling the metal inward with precision. Once the gap closes perfectly, welding begins, sealing the alignment permanently. The welds are smoothed down, the surface sanded, and the panel made whole again. With the bed restored and the tailgate aligned, it's finally time for the fenders. Each one is carefully positioned, their edges adjusted millimeter by millimeter, until both sides sit in flawless symmetry with the cab and hood. The bolts tighten, the gaps close, and the body lines flow perfectly from front to back. A final inspection follows. The front end is checked, the alignment verified, and the panels tested for fit and finish. Everything is secure, balanced, and true. The C10 no longer looks like a project. It looks like a truck reborn. For the first time, the entire body stands complete. Hood, fenders, and bed, united in perfect harmony. The builder steps back to take it all in. The reflection of workshop lights glides smoothly across the flawless black and white surfaces, a symbol of countless hours, relentless effort, and pure craftsmanship. The C10, once forgotten and dismantled, now stands proud, whole again, ready for its next chapter. The restoration has entered its final gleaming stage, the moment when raw steel, paint, and perseverance merge into a single masterpiece. With the body panels perfectly aligned, it's time to bring out the shine. The first coat of clear spray glides across the surface in smooth, deliberate passes, enveloping the paint in a glossy shimmer. Once cured, the second coat follows, sealing every contour beneath a mirror-like sheen. Under the workshop lights, the reflection dances across the curves of the cab and hood, the kind of finish that turns hard work into art. Attention turns to the doors, the bridge between craftsmanship and comfort. The vent window is carefully seated, followed by the window rail and seal, ensuring airtight closure and smooth operation. With the framework complete, the door panel is fitted snugly, its trim and fasteners aligning perfectly. The window crank and door handle are installed, their tactile click confirming every mechanism works as intended. Next, the mirrors are mounted, the eyes of the truck, providing clear visibility and giving the C10 its final touch of symmetry and style. Their polished surfaces reflect both the builder and the truck itself, two journeys mirrored in one image. Behind the cab, the bed is lifted and carefully lowered onto the frame. The bolts tighten one by one, drawing the rear sections securely into place. With this, the C10's body is complete, front, middle, and back, united into a single solid structure. The truck finally stands as one piece again, its classic proportions restored. But as with every machine, perfection demands precision. A faint ticking noise emerges from the exhaust during testing. The diagnosis is swift, a small gap in the headers. They are removed, the welds corrected, and the joints sealed perfectly. A simple but vital fix that ensures the engine runs whisper smooth. No sound escaping but the deep, confident rumble of tuned power. Then comes the transmission service, the kind of behind-the-scenes work that ensures reliability for years to come. The old ATF fluid is drained, its dark color telling the story of long service. The pan is removed, exposing the internal components that have powered thousands of miles. Each part is cleaned, every surface wiped until it gleams. The filter is replaced, ensuring pure flow, and new shift solenoids are installed for crisp, precise gear changes. Finally, the cleaned pan is bolted back into place, sealing the transmission once again. Fresh fluid is poured in, bright, clean, and ready to run. The final upgrade is a perfect blend of tradition and modern flair. A new set of 2023 Bronco Steelies. Their rugged design complements the vintage frame, giving the C10 a timeless yet contemporary stance. Each wheel is carefully torqued, completing the visual and mechanical transformation. The builder steps back and surveys the work. The reflection on the clear coat, the symmetry of the panels, the quiet strength of the frame beneath. Every weld, every brushstroke, every tightened bolt tells a story of dedication and revival. The C10 now stands not just as a restored machine, but as a symbol of persistence, precision, and pride. From rust and ruin to a mirror-bright finish, the journey has come full circle. The final touches bring everything together. A symphony of steel, paint, and craftsmanship reaching its closing note. The new Steelies, once mounted, transform the C10's stance completely. Their deep-set design and matte finish give the truck a rugged, purposeful look, perfectly balancing vintage charm with modern strength. Beyond aesthetics, their durability ensures the build is ready for years of confident driving. Proof that style and function can coexist in harmony. Next, the wiper components are assembled and aligned with surgical precision. Each arm, spring, and linkage clicks into place, restored to flawless motion. Once connected, the wiper sweeps smoothly across the glass, the rhythmic movement signaling readiness for any weather ahead. The test run confirms it. Crystal clear visibility, perfect coverage, and no hesitation. With the exterior nearly complete, a clever detail gives the truck even more character. An old fuel can is repurposed into a filler neck, a creative nod to both ingenuity and classic automotive flair. The bottom is cut out and ground to fit the OEM neck perfectly. After refining the diameter, the neck slides cleanly through, and the cap screws on with a precise, confident twist. 3 bolts secure the setup firmly. Hoses are attached, and the entire can is clear-coated to preserve its industrial patina, giving it that weathered yet fresh aesthetic. A detail only true builders appreciate. In the back, the bedwood becomes a masterpiece of its own. Each plank is stained, sanded, and sealed with 2 coats of epoxy, leaving behind a deep, glassy surface that reflects the light like calm water. Holes are drilled for hoses, edges softened, and the sides stained to match the truck's refined tone. Every cut and polish adds warmth to the cold steel, balancing engineering with artistry. Mounting holes are drilled and countersunk precisely before the custom filler can is bolted in from below, creating a clean and functional centerpiece. The bed is reinstalled and bolted down, transforming the truck's profile into a seamless blend of heritage and innovation. Under the hood, one last refinement, swapping in another OEM brake booster. The faint hissing sound disappears instantly. A subtle fix that restores perfect pedal response and vacuum integrity, ensuring the truck stops as confidently as it runs. As a final creative flourish, an old Army can find new purpose as a toolbox. The metal is cleaned, polished, and clear-coated for protection. Holes are drilled, and the can is bolted securely into the bed, a rugged symbol of the C10's spirit. Tough, resourceful, and built to last. And with that, it's done. The 1966 Chevy C10, reborn on a 2001 Tahoe frame, stands proudly under the sunlight. Every detail gleams, the paint smooth as glass, the steelies reflecting the workshop around them, the wood grain glowing with life. The builder gives it a final wash, water streaming down the fresh, clear coat, revealing the flawless craftsmanship beneath. When the engine fires up, the deep rumble of modern power echoes through the shop. The C10 no longer feels like a relic of the past. It's a fusion of eras, a vintage legend powered by modern capability. As it rolls out into the daylight, the camera follows the gleam of the chrome, the glint of sunlight across its polished surfaces. This project wasn't just a rebuild, it was a resurrection. And as the credits roll, the builder's voice closes with pride. If you enjoyed the journey, make sure to subscribe to Florida Man Garage. More builds, more stories, and more passion for classic machines are on the way. The C10 drives off, its tires humming softly against the road, carrying decades of history into a brand new chapter. And that's the end of the adventure. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to check out the previous videos, stay tuned for the upcoming ones, and if you haven't subscribed yet, join us and hit like and share. See you.